We are back from a very long break. I just want to first off say that a lot of it had to do with some personal stuff that went on. And also, I broke my camera, as you can see. But my wonderful boyfriend Alex bought me a camera for my birthday, and we are now able to record and put it up on YouTube, have as many long videos as we want. It's awesome. So if he is watching this, hi Alex, thank you so much. And yeah, we're back. Yeah, we're back. We are starting off reviewing actually an anime, two animes actually, that we both watched, and we've heard a lot of compares, contrasts, a bit of a Frozen Tangled type thing with the two of these. Your Name and Silent Voice. We watched Your Name. I rented it from the store that I work at, and we watched it, you know, about a couple weeks ago.
Was that Monday?
Monday?
That was Monday, I think.
A little sleepover?
Yeah.
And then we watched Silent Voice this morning. We went to the movies. It was at the theater, and it was really fun. And we loved both, and we thought we would just discuss, you know, how we felt about him and everything.
So which one do you think we should talk about first?
Oh, that is such a good question. I guess we could talk about Silent Voice first, because it's so fresh in our head. So much I want to talk about with that one.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of get into Your Name after that. And it's interesting because I know that what's interesting about these two films is that they're very different, and yet I can kind of see why people pit them against each other. In the same way that I see why Tangled and Frozen are pit against each other.
Yeah.
Kind of feels like the way that some people say about Tangled and Frozen is that there's a few elements that are the same. And not so much a rip-off, but done better in some people's opinions.
Yeah.
And for me, the biggest similarity that I see is the use of flashbacks to reveal twists, because both movies revealed twists and turns and events that happened that we did not know about until it flashed back to it, and something was said that would like, oh, why did they say that? And then it reveals near the end, oh, that's why they said that, because this happened to them.
Yeah.
So that is a huge similarity that really brought a lot of twists and turns. I feel like Silent Voice did it better, because I was a little more emotionally invested in Silent Voice.
Yeah.
So, with that said, let's get into Silent Voice. We will be talking about spoilers as much as...
For both movies.
Oh, both movies.
It's kind of hard to avoid.
We're just going to go through the film. We're going to be revealing a lot because we just want to kind of go into how we felt about certain scenes and everything. So, Silent Voice is about a boy and a girl, and... I know that's kind of like, yeah, the age-old story, but no, it starts off really about, it's a story of redemption. How do I even start telling this story, like, what it's about?
I mean, like, when the movie starts out, it's got, like, the protagonist, and, like, you can tell, like, he's contemplating suicide, but you don't yet know why, and then it goes into a flashback to... when he and his friends were in 6th grade, and a new girl transfers to the school who's deaf.
She's deaf.
And he sees, like, oh, you know, like, this is, like, so he and the rest of the class, like, things actually start out okay. They don't start bullying her
progressively,
at first,
yeah.
But then it kind of devolves into that. Kind of starts with...
Gets worse and worse.
Kind of starts with Nauka and... was it Nauko or Nauka?
Oh, see, yeah, this is why I keep saying the boy and the girl. It's not because they're memorable characters. They are amazing characters. I just, like, was so enriched in the story that I didn't hear anyone's name properly.
I think the girl that started the bullying was
I just call her this bitch.
And then...
that's how I feel
and then Shoya started doing it.
Yeah.
And the rest of the class kind of laughed at everything, and teacher didn't do anything.
Teacher was the worst, and we'll get into him in a minute. Plot-wise, people keep saying that it's mainly about how he picked on her and how he started a lot of, you know, encouraging the class to engage. I felt like that girl was the one who started it, because she was the one who at first was being really nice. There was this girl in the class, Nauka?
Nauka, I think. Let's call her that.
The comment section is going to be flooded with insults about, like, how can you not pronounce these names, you awful women. But anyways, she at first was very nice. She offered to let her, she would write down in the notebook, because the stupid teacher was so ignorant and, like, unable to, I don't know, write it on the board so she could see what's being talked about so she could write it down. But, he's a jerk. And so she offered to write everything down for Shoko.
Yeah.
And at first it was fine, but then she started to get tired because she couldn't follow with the class, like, what was being written, because she was writing it all down for her, so she couldn't write down for herself. And I understand getting a little frustrated about that, but you're doing a nice thing, and it was almost like she was only being nice until it was an inconvenience to her. Then she got mean.
Yeah.
Absolutely awful, and he started to play along with it, and then he took it to the extreme. He threw dirt at her, he threw a rock, stone, pebbles at her. There was this anger that he felt against her, and then things escalated when he continuously started taking out her hearing aids and just breaking them, throwing them out the window, throwing them in the trash.
Yeah.
It was hinted that she engaged in it. She had a friend named Nikki who, like, would watch and be like, guys, you shouldn't do that. This is so mean. But, like, laughing at the same time.
Yeah.
And his friends would watch, too, and make fun of her and everything. Then things went too far.
Yeah.
As if that wasn't too far. And this stupid teacher wasn't paying any attention.
Yeah, he pulls out her hearing aids, and he pulls them out, I guess too quickly or something, and it makes her ears bleed.
Yeah, I think it was brand new, and they were, like, connected to... There's certain hearing aids that are connected to a person's, like if you were to pull a nose hair, it's connected to the brain, kind of like the area that's near the brain. There are hearing aids that are connected to that area. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if that's what happened, because they were brand new and they looked different than the other ones, and I felt like he was pulling, and it was blood everywhere. Mm-hmm. I mean, he bled down her face. And so he got in trouble. Mm-hmm. And he got reported. And he got completely thrown under the bus because all the students and the teacher accused him. Mm-hmm. They blamed him when the principal came in to announce that, her parents have found out that she's obviously being bullied. She didn't say anything because she just wants to be friends with everyone. She doesn't understand why they're acting this way. She thinks it's her fault because she's different. And was it the principal that came in? Is that who? Is that who it was? Principal? I'm not sure. Some old guy.
Just some old guy.
Maybe it was some teacher. It was the janitor. But he wandered in.
I guess we can assume he's the principal.
He put on a nice suit.
He was talking about all the money that that the hearing aid.
Expensive.
Yeah, I think, what did he say, like
600 yen?
No, what is it, like 17,000 yen? It was
16,000 yen.
It was pretty.
Six in there.
It was a lot, but
yeah.
And at that point, I think no one really wanted to come forward about it.
They would not.
They and Shoya actually was like going to like raise his hand, but then the teacher like snaps him like Shoya, we know it was all you. And then and Nauka doesn't really stick up for him. None of his friends stick up for him.
Miki plays a crybaby because she has to cry. Every single time somebody calls her out on something, she starts crying, and people around sympathize with her. People like that. I feel like I'm like that.
And I think because a lot of the kids in the class were just laughing about it and not necessarily actively participating in it, they didn't consider themselves bullies.
I didn't do anything. I just stood and watched. That's bullying.
Yeah.
Laughing about it because you think it's funny is wrong, and you need to do something.
And it wasn't really shown in the movie, but even in the manga, even the teacher was laughing about it, and not like not overtly, shocked. But like snickering, and it's like enough that it kind of encouraged it. He was just enabling it, and it's like he wasn't doing his job as a teacher, so that didn't help anything.
Yes, and I have to say that I would love to hear more like intervene at any time about the manga because you read it, and I would love to hear.
I've read most of it.
But I was curious about a certain scene, if it was in the manga or not, that I was going to ask you about.
Sure.
But I'd like to say something about the teacher after I sneeze.
Bless.
Bless me. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Very unprofessional. It's one thing with kids. They should know better. The kids they're cruel. And these kids were in elementary school, and I know teenagers, I know people who are like 15 or 16 who would do the exact same thing. Kids are cruel. An adult doing it, he should be fired. He should have been fired.
I don't know why that guy was even a teacher.
No,
I mean,
he didn't want to be there.
He didn't act like he wanted to be teaching these kids at all.
And then the history book said something or other, I don't care. He was like Rick Sanchez. It was
That
like,
one time when
whatever, I don't care.
That one time when Nauka stood up to read, he's like, oh, just sit down. You're reading like a 5-year-old or something. And
I know.
I'm like, dude.
He made Shoko get up and read, and got annoyed that they couldn't understand what she was saying.
No, the teacher didn't get annoyed.
Deaf.
He told Shoko she did fine.
Oh.
He said, oh, you did fine, and then Shoko just sits back down.
Why would he make her stand up and do that?
I don't know.
That's
I'm not
so
sure what
weird.
he thought that was going to accomplish.
So ridiculous.
Maybe I don't know.
And then
maybe he would figured giving her special treatment would just alienate her even more from everybody else.
So I know how I can not alienate her. I'll just let her get bullied.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess he wasn't real consistent. But.
Oh, he was awful. But the hearing aid situation took a very dark turn. He went home from getting bullied himself, and his mother found out from the principal or janitor who came into the room that he was a janitor.
I think it was the janitor.
He put on a nice suit and everything and posed as the principal.
I'm Scruffy, the janitor.
I'm Scruffy. I've seen all these hearing aids in the trash. I've had enough of this. Why does he sound like the Kentucky Fried Chicken? There will be condemnation. So anyways, the mother, Shoya's mom, was very sweet, and she got money out of the bank to go and apologize to Shoko's family, and Shoko's mother yanked her earring out of her ear.
Yeah.
The flip?
Yeah.
What gives you the right? Like, okay, first of all, I get it. Your daughter's getting bullied. That's awful. Your daughter's bleeding. I get it. But he's in elementary school. Kids are cruel. And you yanking a woman's earring out when she is apologizing and giving you money back for the damage she caused her son. Are you kidding me? Like, did it go a little bit more into that in the manga? Because you had to explain it to me because I didn't understand what was happening.
No, I don't think they go into it more in the manga.
You just somehow knew?
Actually, to be honest, I think they made it more clear in the movie because they kind of show a close-up of her ear in that one part, and I'm not sure if they ever do that in the manga. So
how did I miss that?
think
you had to explain it to me.
I think actually they make it a little more clear in the movie, maybe.
Oh,
but
I wasn't paying attention.
It was really
I saw blood in her ear, and I was like, why is she bleeding?
So far in the manga, they haven't really addressed it again. Like, they haven't really... They go more into the backstory of the mom in the manga, but they don't really explain, like... She obviously has severe anger issues. I mean, I do get where some of that might come from, you know, because in the manga it explains that...
Doesn't justify, but it does explain.
In the manga it explains that her husband divorced her once he found out that Shoko was deaf.
Yeah.
And then he, like, blamed Shoko's mom, and it's like you didn't tell me you were going to give birth to a deaf kid, and...
Oh, sorry, I'll consult with my medium better next time.
It's like, yeah, okay. And, you know, it doesn't, like, excuse anything, but it does go more into maybe trying to explain... Yeah. It's
but gosh! I was mortified by that. Mainly because I loved Shoya's mom. She was just a sweet woman.
She is.
And I will say I do like how they break the stereotype. I think that they could have easily done the generic where, like, the sweet girl has a sweet family and the mean boy has a mean family. I thought they were going that route, that, like, oh, he must be troubled because at home, like, you know, his father's abusive or his mother doesn't treat him right. No. But no, he has a very loving home. Sometimes it's not always the upbringing. Sometimes it's the kid.
Yeah.
And sometimes the girl is a sweet, loving, wonderful person while her mother is going around slapping people and pulling things out of people's ears.
I think that Shoko takes after her grandma more.
I'm gonna say that, yeah. And her sister too.
Yeah.
So that was the flashbacks of the past. Another thing that eventually there was a breaking point. They were constantly writing insults on his desk, and Shoko was trying to wipe them off so he wouldn't see it. He got very angry, and he attacked her, and they finally just went at it.
Yeah.
She'd had enough, and she finally managed to fight back, and they just had a hit and match. But at one point, he stopped and let her just hit him.
Yeah.
Like,
that's really like the angriest you see Shoko in the whole movie.
Oh, yeah.
So you never see her get that angry again.
Not at all.
It's like...
She was fed up, and so she transferred. She had one friend at the school.
Is it Miyoko? I know her last name is Sahara.
We're gonna call her Sahara.
Let's just call her Sahara because
we know that.
I have trouble remembering her.
She was a sweetheart, but she got transferred. We believe it was because of the bullying.
It was Miyuki, wasn't it? Was it Miyuki? That sounds right. But
Miyuki.
we can call her Sahara. That'd be.
Let's call her Sahara.
I know that's her last name, so.
Do we think it was because of the bullying, or do I think it was because of the bullying?
Why she left?
Yeah.
I think it was probably because of the bullying. It's like...
She was bullied too.
Yeah.
She was treated
because
she had to hear everything people were saying.
Because she befriended Shoko, then she also got bullied as a result.
Yeah,
and so,
by that bitch.
But, yeah.
I'm just calling that Naoko.
No.
Bitch.
The fact that you can't remember her name kind of shows how little
Niche.
you
call her Niche.
like her character.
I did not like her, but I will say this. Flash to the present day, and you see them all again, and we kind of get to see how what happened to him has changed him into a better person. He has learned. He's very depressed. It actually starts with him trying to kill himself. And one of the things he did is he went to her. He found her, and he apologized. And from there became that step towards redemption. And his decision to ask for forgiveness and try to become friends with Shoko is what sparked the change in all of them that were affected by what happened, who were involved, and the people who were introduced into the present day that, came into their lives. And one in particular was this adorable boy who sat alone and was also bullied, and Shoya saw him, and finally one time this other kid was trying to steal the boy's bike. And Shoya hesitated to do something, and then remembered how he treated Shoko, and the boy started screaming for help, and so he finally stepped up and offered to let the guy have his bike instead, and so the boy took his bike, did not give it back, and then he's walking home and he sees that boy went and looked for his bike.
Yeah.
And they became best friends.
He's so sweet and he's so funny.
So sweet.
He's so possessive.
Oh, he was the sweetest. Like, there is so much like, you watch the flashbacks and they're very depressing. You watch the present day and you're introduced to some very sweet people in their lives that help change them and help them move forward with what happened. And so there's him.